In Rainbow Six Siege, there's a path every talented player is expected to take. Grind rank, go pro, then maybe turn to content once your career slows down. Even creators with huge followings like Bolo did it. The system rewards the pro grind first, and everything else comes later. But there was one player who broke the mold, who went against the grain, and that's
Oozie.
Let's go.
At the peak of his ability, when most players would have been chasing qualifiers and orgs, Oozie made a different choice. He chose content, not as a fallback, not as a side hustle, as the goal. He rejected several tier 1 pro teams to build a name for himself through YouTube and Twitch, all so he could make money to support his family now, not 3 to 4 years from now. But still, what if Oozie had gone pro? Could he have reached the level of players like Bolo or Pengu? Did he leave championships on the table, or was he just overrated? This is the story of Oozie. Born on August 4th, 2005, Grayson Oozie Giddings was first exposed to Rainbow Six Siege at just 10 years old, when his brother ended up returning his broken hoverboard for just enough money to buy the game. According to Oozie, the main reason he fell in love with Siege was its leaning mechanics.
Bought Siege, and I fell in love with Siege. The second I saw you can lean on demand, I just fell in love with it. I love the fact that you could punch holes, shotgun lines aside. I just fell in love.
However, being the younger brother, he wouldn't get enough time to grind the game like he wanted to. On top of that, him and his brother's combined obsession with Battle Royale games would make them both abandon Siege for Fortnite when it came out in July 2017. A year later though, Oozie would find his way back to Siege, and just a couple months after grinding the game on console, Oozie would get his own PC just so he could experience the game's leaning without aiming mechanic.
I just loved how far you could go with Siege, and something that made me really want to get a PC, and I'm sure for many as you too, is leaning without aiming. That thing just looks so cool to me. It was just the coolest thing to me.
That was also around the time he started taking content creation more seriously. In his early days on PC, Oozie used to stream on Twitch for up to 14 hours a day, playing ranked, just trying to get better at the game.
And I basically just started grinding a lot, like a lot. I wake up really early, I'd stream for about 14 hours maybe, all the way until dawn. And that was when no cheaters existed. It was like prime plat, elo, no cheaters, people knew each other, and it was fun.
But he didn't start taking off until he posted his first YouTube video on March 4th, 2019. The video was exactly what you'd expect. A supercut of his biggest moments on stream with chill montage music running in the background. In 2019, it felt like a throwback to the old Modern Warfare 2 days, but that was the idea. It barely cracked views at the time, but it said everything you needed to know. Sure, his aim wasn't the best at this point, but his mechanics were definitely going to become a problem for the pros if he kept grinding. So that's exactly what he did. And 4 months after getting the game for PC, Oozie hit Diamond. Season after season, he would maintain that rank, battling against some of the best players on PC and winning. He was definitely improving at a rapid rate, and now the pros were starting to take notice, which is how Oozie ended up becoming friends with Achieved, the same guy who'd later go on to win the R6 Invitational with TSM and Bolo. As Oozie tells it, that was the moment his Siege career really took off.
Found a dude that would forever change my Siege career, and as many as you know him, his name is Achieved. And I found him in a ranked game, and I didn't really know who he was. At the time, he was on a CL team, and he saw that I was a really young kid and I was pretty decent at the game then. He added me and I started playing with him.
Achieved adding him exposed him to the toughest comp players, transforming Oozie's game in the process, which eventually helped him hit champion on Siege, just a little more than a year after he started playing on PC, making him the youngest player in Siege history to hit champion. For those of you who don't know, champion is the highest rank achievable in Rainbow Six Siege's ranked mode, and any player that hits champion is automatically considered within the top 0.3% of the game. With that accolade under his belt, Oozie stopped being subtle and started stepping up to the top pros of the game with confidence. His clips on YouTube were getting better, and he was 1v1ing some of the top pros with ease, like casually knifing Pojo from TSM in a ranked game.
Don't let me do 1v1.
No!
Oh my god.
Do not.
Many started hailing him as the next Bolo because of his movement style and the way he was dropping pro players at a young age. Oozie himself has admitted on multiple occasions that Bolo was one of the inspirations for getting him into the game and credits him for bringing Siege into the mainstream.
Yeah, Bolo, that guy means the world to me. That guy is the biggest inspiration, hands down, Siege, to me, and I think to almost everybody in the game, literally everybody in the game.
So to be compared to him at the young age definitely boosted his confidence even further. However, as good as Oozie was, he soon hit a roadblock in his young career. You see, you can be the most dominating solo fragger in the world, but at the end of the day, Siege is a team-based game. And the only way Oozie could confidently call himself one of the best players in the game was by learning how to instinctively gel with his team and win games. But unfortunately for him, he didn't have any friends that were at the same level as he was.
Like, bro, I was playing with like old guys 24/7, dude. I was pulling like 36-hour days every day, bro. Like, literally, oh my god, biggest grinder. All I wanted to do was play ranked. I really wouldn't even stream it, bro. Like, all I wanted to do was fucking win. And my older guys just weren't, up to par. They're older and they had jobs and stuff like that. So that was my reason, is I just wanted to be fucking good at the game, bro.
His friendship with Achieved did let him play some games with his squads, but it was on and off, and more importantly, they weren't Oozie's guys. Thankfully, all of that changed when in December 2019, Oozie got a public shout out from Adam Drip Kaladkin, better known as Yardy. For those of you who don't know, Drip at the time was a close friend and co-collaborator of Skittles, one of the most popular Siege content creators in the entire world. So you can imagine what a shout out from someone on his team would mean for Oozie. Oozie himself says that it was a life-changing moment that took him one step closer to his dreams of going pro.
Or better known as Yardy from Skittles videos, he shouted me out on Twitter, and that is what forever changed my life. I never knew how much it would, but that's what put me on the market. He tweeted me out. All these pros tweeted me out at like 1 a.m. I had 100 viewers. I was shaking. They were donating subs. I was tearing up. It forever changed what I would be now.
That moment didn't just put Oozie on the pros radar, it also led to his YouTube channel exploding, taking his videos from under 1,000 views from before the shout out to over 100,000 views. From there, Oozie would capitalize on his growing popularity to team with several pro league players and even Skittles himself on occasion, but the chemistry just wasn't there. Fortunately, it wouldn't take him long to eventually find his squad in Spiker, Spiff, Ashen, and Ambi. All were future pro league players that were close to the same age as him and people that he rated very highly, except maybe Spiker.
Yeah.
You're on a team with notable players. You're on a team with Ashen and Ambi.
Yeah.
And me.
And Spiker and Spiff, all pro league players. All
pro league players, by the way.
Spiker hasn't done too much. Love you, Spiker, but you haven't done too much.
But despite learning how to play with a pro level team and defining a role for himself, there was still something holding Oozie back from going pro: his age. As it turns out, he needed to be at least 18 to join a tier 1 team. Since he was only 15 at the time, he'd have to wait another 3 years for a shot. So Oozie did the only thing he could. He kept grinding tier 3 competition with his squad, which is basically the minor leagues in professional Siege.
I would wake up at like 2 p.m. every single day, barely in time for scrims, and I'd hear you and Spiker bitch at me, and oh my god, dude, all I wanted to do was 7-0, because we do game-based scrims all day. All I wanted to do was 7-0 and get the fuck out of there because you guys pissed me off. But that's what pushed me, and that's what made me fall in love with being competitive and disciplined and wanting to improve.
Eventually getting so good that he managed to hit the #1 rank in champion in Crimson Heist. But over the next couple of years, with Oozie growing and maturing as a person, he started doubting if his dreams of going pro were the right dreams to have. His career as a content creator was still going strong. His YouTube videos were maintaining a steady view count, and some of them were even blowing up to 800 800 and 900,000 views. His Twitch streams were performing even better. He was averaging 200 to 300 concurrent viewers, which would occasionally jump to 400 depending on how he was playing. Was it right to sacrifice all that just for a shot at winning a championship? But before Oozie could really figure out what his priorities were, he was forced into making a decision. Because in early 2023, a few months before his 18th birthday, Oozie would get an offer for a tryout from one of the biggest Tier 1 pro teams in the North American League, a team that later managed to bag his idol and friend Bolo on their roster.
But the first one was Dark Zero, and I was 17 years old at the time, 2 to 3 months before my birthday. So they originally offered me a tryout, and super professional Mint DM'd me. Oh my god, my heart dropped when I read that message. I was like tweaking out, and I was like, oh my god, like what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do?
And that opened the floodgates. Over the course of the next few weeks, Oozie's DMs would get flooded by several orgs offering him tryouts for their team. These teams included Wildcard, who actually wanted to build a team around Oozie.
Basically at the time, Wildcard was rebuilding, or they were planning on building, and they messaged me saying, yo, we're trying to build a team, and are you interested? They didn't tell me if there was a coach, didn't tell me anything. Wildcard offered me to, don't even know, I should have messaged them and asked them what they really meant, because when I got that, I literally texted Yardy in a group chat. I was like, bro, I was like, what do you read by the CM? He's like, they're trying to build a roster around you.
And Elevate, a Southeast Asian org who wanted him to move there to join the team.
And then after that one, I got a message from Elevate. If you guys don't know, Elevate, that is an APAC team.
Yeah, that team's in like Thailand, basically.
Yeah. Oh, they're in Thailand?
Well, their OG roster was like Thai players. Now they're kind of like
Oh, okay,
Hong Kong, like mixed, like Southeast Asia.
Okay, yeah. So that's what they were. And they offered me, and obviously I turned that down because Jesus Christ.
I invited you, by the way.
That's across the world.
The moment he'd been dreading was finally here. His childhood dreams of winning a championship versus the stability and riches that come from being a content creator. And to everyone's surprise, Oozie chose the content. One by one, he'd reject every pro team in his DMs, which in his own words was a bittersweet feeling.
And then I knew deep down what I was gonna do, and that's what made me really, really sad. And I told him originally I was gonna do it, but I was only gonna do it for the purpose of seeing if I was good enough to do it, and not accept the offer even if I was, and make a video out of it. And I thought that was so scummy and so wrong to take up their time because they're looking for somebody, and I couldn't. So I told them, I was like, listen, man, I'm super sorry to let you know I cannot take this tryout offer. Yeah, so basically like 6 to 7 offers I've had to obviously unfortunately turn down. So yeah, very, 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 I guess, sad. That I would say that's the word to describe it. Bittersweet, and more bitter than sweet.
But even though his decision might have been sad at the time, Oozie had his reasons for choosing content over going pro. He believed content was the stable option compared to going pro, especially after the stories he'd heard of pro players not getting paid.
I guess what all the people want to know is why, right? Like, why did you turn them down? Like, you have these pro offers on the table. You did play competitive. There had to be a reason you got into competitive, and you know, so why not go all the way? Why turn them down once you get to the pro tryouts? You know, like.
Yeah, that's a question maybe asked 10,000 plus times. And
everyone's got a
and whether it's, oh my gosh, she's money hungry, oh my gosh, she's cheating, or this and that, the true answer is job security and the ecosystem of Rainbow Six Siege competitive. First, we could start with job security. Content creation is, to many, a very insecure thing, and people might think I'm crazy for saying that it is a lot more secure than you think. If your video flops because of you. It flops because of the idea. You can adjust, you can improve, you can adapt, and it's super fun. And I'm obsessed with being better. I'm obsessed with bettering myself. So I have so much fun with it, and I think it's a lot more secure than it is. You know, getting wallbanged 7 times in a row and getting dropped the next day. The job security is not there. The pay isn't there. And the ecosystem is very bad. Also, obviously, ecosystem lies in pay too, or Yeah. But the ecosystem basically just covered what I said. But in Ubisoft and Pro League, is that just a 3 worst combination? At least from what I hear, the nightmares I hear of teams not getting their money. Oh my gosh, there's a guy, not gonna say any names, but there is a guy that I know that is owed well over 6 digits, multiple people, and I cannot have my money held. I cannot have my money held. That's like the one thing I hate most is when I don't get my money.
Plus, in his own words, Oozie didn't feel he had the right team mentality yet. He was still very much a solo player.
And I would not be able to, if I'm playing shit, I'm on a team, bro, I'm honestly gonna be honest with you guys, I am bouncing, bro. I'm gonna, my team's before me. That's what I couldn't do. My team, I couldn't put my team before me. So that's what my issue was, and that's why I didn't play comp 2, because obviously, yeah, I could scrim 3 times a day, and then, you know, fucking do whatever the fuck I want afterwards. But that's not putting my team before me. That's not putting 100% effort.
And to his credit, going that content route would actually pay off in the long run, since it led him to 1v1ing Jinxie, the biggest Siege creator in the world. Of course, Oozie would eventually come out on top in their battle, however, it turned out to be a lot closer than anyone thought, with Jinxie managing to win 6 rounds on a console against a PC player with insanely better mechanics than him. After that showdown, Oozie's channel would explode once again, with some of Jinxie's fanbase carrying over to his channel. However, despite his success as a content creator, Oozie still had that drive to prove he was insane at the game to all of his doubters. A drive that was slowly becoming an obsession, and so the titles of his next few videos came even more rage baity, showcasing Oozie's thirst for defeating and humbling pro players. But then something would happen that made his obsession with defeating PC pros take a back seat for a while. It all started when Oozie decided to team with Jinxie in one of his Roller Sunday tournaments in December 2024. A typical Roller Sunday tournament, if you're not aware, is usually dominated by console players and only includes a select few PC players who have to cap their FPS in order to participate. And this time, Oozie was one of those PC players. But unfortunately, let's just say Oozie didn't play the best.
Tower side.
Okay, I put a meat jammer like in there.
Can you get in my...
It's a Maverick.
Can someone get on my main cam?
Yeah,
Maverick gridlock.
Yo, top, sat window, bro. Sat window, and walked in master. He walked through my zombie as it's being placed.
Health, bro.
Heard. Is he walking down?
Freezer. Yeah, walking down freezer. Running back up.
He dropped box.
Oh.
Drop box.
Which led to his team losing pretty early on in the tournament.
Yeah, laundry door.
Both laundry side.
No. Pulse is hard right still.
No.
That's right.
No. Good try, guys. Good try.
Okay.
After every single round, my monitor just goes black.
Match point. I was like unlucky.
I mean, I didn't expect them to be under the skylight that late. It was a minute into the round.
Bro, like 144 just destroys your fucking computer, bro.
And while Oozie did let himself down considering the skill and experience he has facing PC pros, he didn't deserve all the blame for his team's loss. There's plenty of rookie mistakes Jinxie and the rest of his teammates made, summed up perfectly by this commentator. This video, if anything, just showcases how inequipped console players are for pro play. Cluttered comms, ignoring Oozie's callouts the whole game, blaming each other for everything, Oozie trying to play every role because his team is inadequate at anything. Notice how Oozie acknowledged all of his team's calls, but they didn't acknowledge at least 80% of his. However, Jinxie wasn't willing to accept his mistakes, which led him to blame Oozie for selling the game.
I'm just gonna point out the difference. I don't care, I said it. Last week we played with Oozie. Oozie was not doing this shit. That's all I'm saying.
Damn.
Oozie was like just selling, bro.
Damn, Oozie.
Wait, Oozie sold, bro. I don't care, I said it. I don't care. Oozie had like 2 games with negative KDs.
Oozie would respond a couple days later by publicly calling out Jinxie, Stompin, and the whole console community as a whole for not knowing how to play competitive because they just didn't know the fundamentals.
That's definitely a stretch, bro. That actually is a stretch. Coming from Jinxie, that's a stretch, bro. This guy literally sells. This guy goes 1 in 10. Bro, I'm capped on 144 Hz with input lag. Yes, okay, yes, that's a bad excuse. I'm still on PC. Well, I get it. It's a sell. Yeah, I played poorly. But there's a difference between selling and playing bad. I was playing bad. I was not selling. Jinxie once again did nothing. Every time I got a kill or Stomping got a kill, oh my god, let's go! And then for 30 seconds, fucking screaming in the mic, bro. Jinxie screams in the mic after someone gets a kill. And then nobody can reset. They don't know fundamentals. They don't double up. They don't play refrags. They don't play the other side of the map. So, all they do, they play on the opposite side of the map as their team. Jinxie or Stomping tries to walk in. One of them dies. Chalk it, dude. Chalk it. Let's go to the next map. Let's go to the next map. Chalk it, dude. Like, their excuses are terrible, and they're shitty teammates. Like, there's a reason why Kino literally... Bro, Kino went like 1-10, bro. He says the most miserable time he ever had because all Stomping and Jinxie do is bitch, bro. The dogs shit at the game, and they have terrible egos. Stomp doesn't know how to play the game. Jinxie doesn't know how to play the game. Stick to clip farming. Deadass. Stick to clip farming.
Now, if I'm being completely honest, Oozie saying that Stompin wasn't good at the game was a terrible take, especially since Stompin just recently switched to PC and has already been picked up by G2. Anyways, Jinxie would later back down, saying that he didn't mean to put the entire blame of his loss on Oozie.
Okay. There's a lot to unpack here. First off, I know Oozie's better at the game than me. That's not what I said. I said Benja is playing better than Oozie on our team. That's what I said. That's literally all I said. I didn't blame Oozie for the entire loss. Dude, every loss is everybody's fault, of course. But I just said Benja's playing better than Oozie.
However, Stompin and Oozie would keep beefing with each other all the way till Christmas. The feud did fizzle out eventually after Oozie apologized, but its impact on Oozie's channel would remain forever, in the best way possible. After the beef, Oozie's popularity as a content creator grew even more. Controversy boosted his views, and now he had more eyeballs on him than ever before. However, in the back of his mind, Oozie still had that itch to go pro, to prove to everyone that he could stand toe-to-toe with some of the best players in the game. So when he got the emergency invite from CL4L asking him to sub in for one of the players in the Blast Montreal Major 2024, he immediately accepted. This was his chance to shock the world, and he didn't disappoint. In fact, he dominated.
Back when they were winning against G2, didn't quite last. Oh, that's free! Oozie finds Ask just out on his drone in the middle of nowhere. The biggest problem's been Oozie here. We're seeing him have so much good impact out there on the roam. You saw his good play. A little tired.
And then construction.
Wow.
There's another pick coming out for CL4L.
0-3 to start this off, and Packer, the initial aggression. Oozie in the exact same position, playing the exact same operator, gets the exact same result. I wouldn't have seen that coming.
These guys are fucking idiots. The way they just repel in solar.
But they should know that he's going to be crossing this window soon. Here's the gunfight. Guto just walks up the stairs. Oozie actually gets the trade. A great little flick finds Guto.
Fall off the roam faster. Fall off the roam faster. My Clash can get the job done. Nuxka picks up yet another kill, but an impact grenade thrown up by Oozie will actually take down what remained of Nuxka.
Oh no. Now there's a default cam up, Parker.
From bad to worse for Black Dragons, and would you look at that? Oozie with the run out, enabled by that information. Florio gets one right back.
They're still hunting for picks around these windows. Did Oozie get that pick? Actually, with the twist round, he's going to finish it off, that's for sure. 3 zaps, and he will get credit for that one. Player off that window for a time. It does. It forces Ask forward, which they almost capitalize off. In the meantime, the F2 finds a second head.
Over towards blue stairs, and there's the, oh my! Spray transfer over the shield from Oozie. Guto dies, and now Nuxkill goes right back to where he was at before. Oozie looking for a 4th kill in this round, and he will find it!
We got attacked!
In the hands of Adam, and he will graciously accept every defender that attempts to get close. He sees one, the double swing, Adam with yet another kill, and that's map number 2, CL4L.
Unfortunately, CL4L couldn't make it all the way, placing terribly. But for Oozie, that experience gave him the chance that he was looking for. He proved that he had what it took to dominate Pro League given the opportunity, but he just wanted to provide for his family and the people closest to him. Choosing content may have been an unpopular decision at the time, but it changed Oozie's life for the better, even letting him to buy his own dream car and getting something he fully deserved for popularizing the game, his own in-game charm. In his mind, if he'd chosen to go pro, he'd get to play with the best of the best, but there was no guarantee that he'd get paid well well or on time. And for him, that was the worst thing ever. So he made the difficult decision to go the content route, even when everyone told him how great he could be as a pro. And you know what? He smashed that as well. And that's what sets Oozie apart. That's what makes him the exception.